cherry tomatoes. You throw them into your salad, put them into your pasta, or roast them as a side dish. These are all great options. But did you know that you can also make them into this sweet and cold appetizer that instantly refreshes you during a hot summer day like this? Let me show you this perfect appetizer for summertime. Hi everyone, I'm Ariel and welcome to my channel. Here I share Chinese recipes, cooking and styling tips, and all things related to the Chinese food culture. And today I'm sharing with you one of my favorite cherry tomato dishes for summertime. It takes not many ingredients and very little time. Let me show you how to make it. For this recipe, you need the following ingredients: cherry tomatoes, lemon, apple, sugar, water, dried salted plums, and sweet olive flowers. Most of the ingredients are pretty self-explanatory, except for the last two that are a little bit special. So let's talk about the last two. And as always, everything I mentioned are listed in the info box down below. Dried and salted plums. This is first and foremost a Chinese snack instead of a commonly used ingredient for cooking. They're plums that have been dried and preserved in salt and sugar. They're usually sold in packets in the snack aisle with other dried fruits and nuts, such as raisins, dried cranberries, and walnuts. They're salty and sweet and tangy, quite a unique and distinctive flavor. I remember nibbling on those when I was a little kid, and it was quite addictive. If any of you are from Hawaii, you know what I'm talking about. These preserved plums are often used in a type of Hawaiian margarita, and they even use the ground up plum powder to rim their glasses. The other ingredient is sweet olive flowers. These are dried flowers from a type of tree native to Asia. They're also called sweet osmanthus flowers. There are several ways you might see them used. They can be made into a syrup or a jam. To be used in teas, either to be mixed with tea or to be infused into tea leaves. They can be used in desserts or other dishes to give a boost of flavor. They can also be used in liquor. Coincidentally, both of these ingredients that we talked about can be used in liquor. Maybe I'll make a video about that later. But today we're only going to talk about how to make these into our sweet appetizer. Start off by getting the juice of half a lemon. I usually peel the lemon first before I juice it, so I could save the peels for making something else. You don't need to do this if you don't want to, because we're only using lemon juice today. Then pre-treat your tomatoes for skinning. Today I'm using 4 different kinds of cherry tomatoes. Using only one type is perfectly fine, but I prefer using different varieties because this gives me different firmness and flavor and better color. Remove the crowns of all your tomatoes and then use your knife to make an X at the bottom of each one. You only need to use your knife to break the skin of the tomatoes, but don't cut too deep, because if you do that, the tomatoes will split open and the juice will run out. You don't want that. Then cut and slice a quarter of your apple. Don't peel it because the peel can also add flavor to our dish. Add 2 cups of water into a pot. Put everything but cherry tomatoes in. We're essentially making a brine or a syrup for our tomatoes. So all the things we just added are there to help bring in complexity and subtle flavoring into the brine and eventually into our tomatoes. Give this a good mix, turn on medium-high heat, and bring it to a boil. After that, remove from the heat and let cool. While you're waiting for the brine to cool down, bring another pot of water to boil and get a bowl of ice water ready. Put the cherry tomatoes into the boiling water. Watch them closely as you will immediately see the skin crackling even more and peeling off from where you leave the X marks. When all of them start to show a sign of peeling, immediately get them out of the pot and put into the ice water. How long you should leave your tomatoes in the boiling water depends on the variety and firmness of your tomatoes. Mine only took 35 seconds before I took them out. Yours might or might not need more time. But as a general rule, Don't leave them in there for over a minute, because then they will start to fall apart. After the tomatoes are cooled in the ice water, you can start peeling them. Just use your fingertips to gently push the skin away like so. Your tomatoes should slip right out. If yours aren't peeling easily, don't use your fingernails to scratch them or force them in any way. They're very fragile at this stage. You don't want to break them. Just put them back into the boiling water for several more seconds. After your tomatoes have all been peeled and your sauce has cooled down, you can start to put them together. Here I'm using a mason jar, but you can use anything as long as it's airtight and doesn't leak. Put some tomatoes in, and then some plums and apple slices, and then some more tomatoes until the jar is full. Pour in the syrup to let everything submerge in liquid. Seal your container and then put it in the fridge overnight. On the next day, get the plums and apple slices out and then carefully place your tomatoes onto a plate. Sprinkle a little bit more sweet olive flowers, drizzle on some syrup, and then your tomatoes are ready to be enjoyed. After a night in the fridge, the tomatoes have been sweetened by the syrup and soaked up a lot of interesting flavors from the apple slices, the plums, and the sweet olive flowers. And because we didn't cook them, they still kept their firm texture and the juiciness. Put one into your mouth and feel the explosion of cold and sweet tomato juice. Isn't this just the perfect appetizer for a hot summer day? I hope you like this dish and give it a try. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on social media. Thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.